I want you to remember the strongest deja vu you've ever had. Not the mild kind. The kind that hits so hard you stop moving for a second. It feels like the room has an echo, like you're stepping into a moment that already exists somewhere. And the scary part is not the feeling itself. The scary part is how confident it can feel. You can dismiss it as your brain misfiring. That's the safe explanation. But there's another explanation that's stranger and cleaner. It says time is not something that moves. It says the future is not something you travel toward. It says your entire life might already exist, and what you call now is just the slice you're conscious inside of. Stay with me, because if that idea is even partly true, it changes what deja vu is. It changes what dreams are, and it explains why life lately feels like it's repeating itself. Before we go deeper, I need to be clear. I'm not here to sell you a fantasy. I'm not here to claim I have proof of something no one else can prove. What I'm going to do is show you a theory of time that serious people have debated for a long time and then connected to something you felt in your own body. Because the reason this video matters isn't whether the theory is true in some absolute sense. The reason it matters is this. People are starting to feel time differently. Days blur, weeks vanish, moments feel pre-lived. Reality feels oddly familiar, like you've been here before. And I think there's a reason that's bigger than everyone. It's just stressed. We're gonna build this carefully, step by step. No comedy, no fluff. Just a clean line from physics to your mind to the way society is changing. Most people think of time like a river, past behind you, future ahead of you, and you're drifting forward. That picture feels natural because it matches how we experience life. But that doesn't mean it's how reality is shaped. In modern physics, time is often treated as a dimension-like space. You know the three dimensions you live in, left and right, forward and back, up and down. Now add a fourth, not a magical fourth, not a fantasy fourth, just another axis, time. Here's where it starts to get uncomfortable. If time is a dimension, then past and future are not locations that vanish. They are parts of the same structure, like a whole landscape, not a moving dot. And if that's true, then your life is not a line being drawn in real time. It's more like a complete object, already formed, already there. You don't feel it that way because your consciousness experiences one slice at a time. But the theory says the slices all exist. Don't accept it yet, just hold it. Because if you can hold this idea for a few minutes, the next part will click. Imagine a loaf of bread. The entire loaf exists, but you only ever interact with one slice at a time. If you live inside the loaf, your reality is the current slice. You call it now. Yesterday is the slice behind it. Tomorrow is the slice ahead of it. From the perspective of someone outside the loaf, the whole thing exists at once. The entire structure is real. Not a story being written, but a shape. Now replace the loaf with your life. A life is not just events. A life is a sequence of states. Your body, your location, your relationships, your decisions, your consequences. The block universe model says all those states are part of one 4D structure, and your consciousness is moving through it like a scanner or like a flashlight, not creating the future, not erasing the past, just experiencing slices of something that already exists. This is the first moment where people either lean in or shut down. So I'll say it plainly. This theory does not ask you to believe in magic. It asks you to accept that your experience of time might not match time's true geometry. And that's not crazy. That's what happens with dimensions you can't directly perceive. You were not built to perceive 4 dimensions. You were built to survive. Your nervous system treats now like a weapon. It focuses you on the immediate moment because that's where threats are. So when someone tells you the future might already exist, your mind rebels. It feels like it steals your choices. It feels like it turns your life into a script. But notice something. Even if the block universe model were true, you still wouldn't know what the next slice is. You still wouldn't experience it until you reach it. From inside the loaf, the slice is still unknown until it's the slice you're in. So the model doesn't automatically destroy the feeling of choice. It just reframes it. Your choices might be part of the structure, not illusions, not irrelevant, just already embedded in the full shape of your life. And now we reach the part you came here for. If time is a structure, why do we sometimes feel like we've touched the structure? Why does déjà vu happen at all? Let's start with the grounded explanation, because it matters. Déjà vu can happen when your brain mislabels a moment as familiar. Your brain is constantly comparing the present to stored patterns. Sometimes it tags this is familiar when it shouldn't. That can happen because the current scene resembles something you've experienced before, or because you processed it twice in a split second, or because attention and memory systems briefly desynchronize. That explanation is not weak. It's actually powerful because it shows you something important. Your sense of reality depends on labeling: familiar, new, safe, threatening, meaningful, useless. When the labeling glitches, you feel a crack in the world. But here's why people don't stop at the safe explanation. Because sometimes déjà vu isn't vague. Sometimes it feels specific. It feels like a moment you could predict. Like you knew what someone was going to say before they said it. Like you knew what would happen next. And that's where the mind starts hunting for a deeper model. So now I'm going to give you the unsettling explanation, not as fact, as a possibility. And the possibility is this. What if déjà vu is not a memory error? What if it's a brief contact with the structure? If your life is a forward object, your brain is not supposed to perceive the whole thing. It's supposed to perceive one slice. But perception is not perfect. Your brain predicts the next moment constantly. It builds a model of what's about to happen. Normally, that prediction stays in the background. You don't notice it, but sometimes the prediction and the present collide. And when they collide, you get that sensation. I've been here. Here is the strange thought. If your brain is always simulating the next slice, and if the structure is real, then déjà vu could be the feeling of your simulation aligning too closely with the slice you land in. It's not that you time traveled. It's not that the universe whispered secrets. It's that for a moment your brain's predictive model overlaps with what is already there in the structure. That overlap can feel supernatural because it exposes the machinery. And the moment you see the machinery, you realize something else. Maybe you had this sensation in another place too. Not while awake. In dreams. Dreams are not just random nonsense. Dreams are your brain running scenarios, testing threats, testing desires, testing outcomes. In a dream, your mind generates a world without needing to obey normal physics. Time stretches and compresses. You can live an hour in what feels like minutes. You can jump across locations without traveling. And sometimes you wake up with a strange grief, like you lost a life you were just living. That's not a joke. That's real for people. Now here's the part that matters. Dreams often feel like they're happening in a different you. Same emotional core, different life, different choices, different consequences. Which is why people start connecting dreams to the idea of other selves, other timelines, other branches. And that brings us to the second major theory people attach to this, not the block universe, the many worlds idea. I'm going to handle this carefully because it's easy to turn this into cheap fantasy. But if you treat it as a lens, not a religion, it becomes extremely useful. There's an interpretation of quantum mechanics that suggests reality might branch. Not like a movie, like a structure with many outcomes coexisting. In that framework, every time a measurement resolves, you get different possible results. People take that and turn it into the idea of many worlds, many versions, many paths. Now, whether that's literally true is not something I can prove to you here, but I can tell you why the idea sticks. Because you felt branching in your own life. You felt how one decision can fracture everything. One job you didn't take, one person you didn't call back, one move you didn't make, one night you didn't go out, one illness, one accident. Your mind can sense the ghost of the life you almost lived. And dreams often feel like walking through those ghosts. So here's the bridge. Block Universe says your life is one complete object. Many worlds suggest there may be many such objects, many blocks. And your mind, under stress, under stimulation, under obsession, can start to feel like it's brushing against more than one. Again, not proof, but it's a clean model for a sensation people are reporting more often. And now we reach the point where this stops being purely about physics. Because even if none of these theories are literally true, something is happening to the way we experience time. And society is driving it. Look around. Everything is faster, but nothing feels finished. You consume more information than people used to consume in a week before noon. Your attention is fragmented into small pieces. Your memory is stored outside your body, inside devices. And most importantly, your environment repeats itself. Same headlines, different day. Same arguments, different faces. Same tragedies, same scripts, same outrage cycles. Your feed doesn't just show you reality. It trains your brain to expect a certain pattern of reality. So when something happens in your life that resembles a pattern you've already seen 100 times online, your brain flags it as familiar. Not because you lived it, but because you pre-lived versions of it through constant exposure. This is where déjà vu becomes cultural. You don't need a mystical explanation for why everything feels like it already happened. The machine is literally feeding you repeated templates of life. And it gets worse. Short-form content conditions you to live inside loops. 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 1 minute, reset, repeat. That rhythm is not neutral. It shapes your sense of time. You start to experience life like a series of clips instead of a continuous thread. Your brain stops building deep memory because it's never allowed to stay with one thing long enough. Then you go to sleep, and your brain tries to stitch the fragments together. That's one reason dreams are getting more vivid, more chaotic, more emotionally loaded for many people. Not because the universe is speaking louder, but because your mind is processing a louder, messier world. Now I'm going to say something direct. This is the part most people avoid saying out loud. If time is a structure, then your life is a path through that structure. If society is shaping your inputs, then society is shaping your path. So ask yourself this, slowly. When you feel like time is slipping, when days blur, when moments feel pre-lived, is it a signal that your mind is overloaded, patterned, and trained? Because either answer is serious. If it's the universe, then reality is stranger than we admit. If it's society, then we're dealing with something just as unsettling, an environment capable of reshaping human perception at scale. And here's what I want you to do. The next time you get déjà vu, don't just shake it off. Notice what kind it is. Is it vague familiarity? Or does it feel like you could predict what comes next? And notice what your life has been filled with lately. Repetition, stress, scrolling, lack of sleep, constant noise, because that's where the doorway is. Not to magic, to understanding. So here's what I want from you. If you've had a déjà vu moment that actually stopped you in your tracks, put it in the comments. Keep it specific. Where were you? What happened? What did you feel like you knew before it happened? And if you have a theory, drop it. I don't care if it's neuroscience, physics, simulation theory, religion, timelines, whatever. Just explain it like you're trying to convince a smart friend, not like you're trying to win an argument. Because the truth is, I think we're all noticing the same thing from different angles. Time feels different now. And even if the cause is totally mundane, the experience is still one of the strangest things a human mind can go through.